I think with like a lot of social media, there's like a lot of different like views that you get like exposed to that you normally wouldn't. And like there's been like a couple of times where I've seen stuff that I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even realise that people thought like that. And that's where like this project kind of stemmed from. Like I think this idea of like who to blame comes from like fear. And there's been a couple of things where like there have been natural disasters after like human rights issues have been like brought up, and like there have been like reforms of rules and things like that, which has like been really good, like legalizing gay marriage or abortion laws and things like that. And then there be a natural disaster because of climate change, and then these like far right groups will like put on this fear factor to be like, well, if you change this law and this is the reason why this natural disaster happened, because it's God that is like punishing you for like moving further, I think, like progressing in the world rather than like celebrating like human rights.
If we're thinking that it might be covered, it's just like the base, and it might
I think like a lot of Western religions have this idea that like being a woman is like to be subservient, and that's why there's like so many like rules about women's bodies, like Roe v. Wade at the moment in America.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, have you seen that thing where it's like if like a storm is named after a woman, people are more likely to die from it because they think a female storm is going to hurt less, so they go out in it.
No, you're joking.
No, it's like actually real, like I saw it and it's like,
oh my god.
Yeah, it's like madness to think that like even like stuff that isn't gendered, like nature or stuff like that, is like has been impacted because of misogyny. It's like actually mad to me that actually happens. And I just like sewing, and I think wedding dresses are ridiculous. So it's like I want to wear a wedding dress. That was going to be later.
Okay.
And then we can stitch that thing on top of it.
Nice. There's nothing as like female mother nature, like it's not, it doesn't exist. Like Earth has no, it's like a creation of God, so like everything belongs to God, and like he has the power to do what he wants, and like he's like, if there's a hurricane like you said, or if there's like any like a earthquake or something, it's because we deserve it and because we did something wrong, instead of just acknowledging that like, yeah, we did something wrong, but like we need to like repair our errors and like find a way to solve it, instead of being like, yeah, we just deserve it, like it's God like punishment or something like that.
Yeah, because I feel like it's so easy to blame, like with the climate crisis, and you see it a lot with like not just religion, but like massive companies will blame the consumer, like Amazon like blaming the consumer, or like you like go to like massive like shopping, like H&M have that thing where it's like, don't buy too much, and if you buy too much, like that's bad. But it's like these companies are like so bad for the environment. It's not the consumer. Like at the end of the day, the person that like needs to drive to work because they can't afford the train at the moment or whatever, like that's not, is the reason why the planet is dying. You can take this off and you put that down and you just press that, and also I think because we've stepped forward in such a massive way in such a small amount of time, because when you think about it, like my parents didn't have the same, like my mum didn't have the same equal rights as I do now, but like I think it's bound to like have the effects of like we're stepping back now, which is ridiculous because it's like the time of when we need it most.
I tried to talk faster than this, I think I'd fall. So coming back a little bit to the project, we had this whole views I think in mind already. Obviously like with climate change, for me it's like a big topic right now, and like for some reasons there was also like this topic of like bodies and human bodies, and especially maybe women. We started like kind of having this idea of like showing, having an installation, this idea of like making a dress would like actually suit it. It came more as like a group idea, I think, to have a dress involved and like a cape and like have a whole message on something. And which is nice also is that we can like talk about lots of different topics on the same dress. We have feminism, we have ecological issues. Also the fact that we're working with fabric, like we use a lot of recycled fabric, we ask people to give us fabric, we went to charity shops, like all of that is kind of like against fast fashion, which is also like massive problem that we have right now. So there's a lot of like inside topic in our whole piece, I think, which is great. I love it. I can still like come and do like a few stitches if we need to.
We want the piece to be not completely explicit. We want it to be open to the audience and how they can relate it to themselves, how you can interpret it and see this use of blame in the world.
I reckon you can use the big gun boxes.
We're talking about like fear and blaming.
Yeah.
So like if we turned around and was like, well, it's Christianity's fault, or it's this religion's fault, or it's like this person's fault, we'd like be part of the problem as well.
Yeah.
I think it's more just like a comment of like, we have stuff that's going on at the moment that's really important and we need to think about it like as people, not as like a labelled person.
Yeah.
And like we're all in together for this because everyone is like, no matter what you believe in, no matter who you are, gender, sexuality, whatever, you're going to be impacted by this. That's what the dress represents, is like you're going to be impacted by it no matter what.